Michel Barnier is becoming increasingly furious at the EU as member state leaders are actively making the Brexit trade deals harder for the bloc. King's College London Professor of European Politics and Foreign Affairs and Director of UK in A Changing Europe, Anand Menon, warned tensions between Michel Barnier and the European Union were rising. During an interview with Express.co.uk, Mr Menon argued Michel Barnier's job as chief Brexit negotiator was being made more difficult by leaders of member states refusing any compromise. Mr Menon also claimed both the UK and EU would eventually have to relax their trade deal stances, and Michel Barnier was adamant on doing that for the EU. Mr Menon said, "The interesting thing about Michel Barnier's frustration is we have seen it targeted at the UK like at the end of the fourth round of Brexit trade talks. But I think he is also frustrated with the EU. This is because one of the things that have happened over the last few weeks is that whenever Barnier has gone to the member states to ask for a bit more wiggle room, they have tightened up his mandate and made it harder for him to come to a deal." As he said back in the middle of May, both sides are approaching the Brexit trade negotiations from a maximalist point of view. "I think his frustration is what this makes it harder for him to strike a deal." Mr Menon also expanded on how Britain and the EU would come to an agreement on the Brexit trade deal. He said, "In order for there to be a Brexit trade deal, one or both sides are going to have to give some ground. What we don't know yet is if either side is willing to give some ground. I think one of the things about the talks currently is that because of COVID-19 the political leaders on both sides have not really been engaging with Brexit talks. You have to remember on the UK's side the negotiations are being solely carried out by a special advisor, there is no direct political involvement. If we are going to get a deal, then by the time we get into the autumn, political leaders on both sides are going to start having to make some trade-offs. It could be the French having to concede and say we are going to ask less about fish."